Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Enlightened Entrepreneur. The title of today's interview is 3 Starting Business Mistakes Every Business Owner Needs to Avoid. My name is Yeukai, and I'm speaking with the legendary, I would like to call her because she's very good, Mary, who has been in the industry for a long time, actually 29 years, running her own business. And we're going to have a great time. Welcome to the interview, Mary.
Oh, thank you for having me. Appreciate being here.
Oh, thank you so much for agreeing to spend some time with us and a lot of startups that are in our audience today. Now, before we get started, Mary, I always love to get to know, our guest on this podcast. So, would you kindly share with our audience, how you got started, maybe a bit about your background, so we can relate with you and understand where you're coming from.
Oh, okay, great. Yeah, I would love to. Thank you. So I started in Silicon Valley, Palo Alto, California, my business in 1981, about 5 decades ago,
Yes.
or 1,000 years ago. It's funny. I started a photography business and I always loved photography, and you can actually do what you love and make money at it. But I didn't really believe it until I started it. So what I want to stress to people is that you don't always need to get a formal education, but you do need to spend a lot of time on whatever it is that you're doing before you start your business and open your doors. So I had been an amateur photographer for years, at least. I mean, I've been photographing since I was 7 years old. So I just had a love for it that kept me going. And that's really my background. I had no formal training. I just fell in love with photography and loved doing it and wondered if I could make a living at it.
Yes, and you managed to do that. In fact, I was reading your profile earlier on. You've ended up working with some outstanding companies. Would you share that with our audience today?
Yeah, so I've worked with Apple, Stanford, Intel, Yahoo, Cisco. I've worked with lawyers, angel investors, CEOs in Silicon Valley, families, weddings. So that was my entire business. And I just happened to hit it when it was starting to go on fire. This was before Facebook started.
Right.
Yahoo was just taking off, and Apple. So, yeah.
Incredible. And you've been at it now, for all these years and still have the passion. And I'm hoping that a little later on during the time we have together, you share with our audience, what is it that keeps you going during those hard times when you're running your business?
Yes, and there are hard times. Yeah, it's not always easy. That's true. I think the adversity makes you stronger, though.
Yes. Now let's talk about those early years of you running your business as a professional. What was it like?
Oh, okay. Well, it was a very exciting time to be in the Valley. Looking back, I mean, I lived in downtown Palo Alto, which is everyone's dream now in Silicon Valley, in a cute little Victorian apartment, and I had just gotten married, and it was just Palo Alto wasn't yet exploding yet. It was a sweet town next to Stanford University. You could walk over there. In fact, my first job in Palo Alto was at Stanford before I started my photography business. And what it was like starting my business there, it's amazing how fast it really did take off. The first year I photographed 2 weddings, and the next year was 27 weddings.
Incredible.
Yeah.
What did you do to have such an incredible growth over a small period of time?
Well, you know what I really attribute it to? There was no one else in the Valley that was doing candid wedding photography. Now, I didn't know this because I went into it thinking this is the kind of pictures photography I like to do. I loved people photography, and I thought, oh, gee, I hope I don't have to change to do this stiff pictures, formal stuff that I couldn't stand to even look at.
Right.
But the first wedding I got, they said, I don't want any posed pictures. I want it to all be candid. I'm like, bingo.
This is what I'm up for. This is what I'm about.
Yeah. And, they paid very well. I checked a price. I didn't even know what to charge. I checked a price for a highly regarded wedding photographer that didn't do my style. And I thought, well, I'll charge something a little lower than what he charges. So, but they took it, and then things just took up. And I really attribute it to the fact that there was no one else doing it. Now there's a ton of people, but there wasn't anyone in the
Right.
Valley doing that. And so there's that, and word of mouth. People, it just spread.
Incredible. And you have used the word of mouth for a while as well in your business. Talk about the value of that for a moment.
Oh my gosh. This is what I wanted to talk about mainly as a mistake that people make that don't make it in business. It's because of relationships. And what this has taught me is that you have to treat your clients and your customers like they're solid gold. And, I never even thought at the time that this is how the business would spread, by word of mouth. Like, this is before the internet started
Right.
in the 80s. And so you didn't rely on this more impersonal communication that the internet is. You really had to go out and meet people. And when I understood that after a few years of doing the weddings, I did start to go out and meet people and take them out to lunch and nurture relationships and show them my work and go to see them and offer value to them. Because if they can recommend somebody really good that people like, that
Right.
no one else is doing something that I'm doing, then, that's a good value for them too. But it is about relationships for sure.
Wow. And maybe if you were communicating to somebody who, has a passion or an interest and they're looking into getting started, in line with what you just shared, what would you say to them?
Oh, in regards to a business in general, or in this business?
In business in general.
Oh, in general. Okay. I would say that here's the mistake I see a lot of people making. They spend too much time on this online presence and establishing a whole bunch of technical stuff, when really what they should be doing is going out and establishing relationships with people. It takes time, and
Right.
it's not instant, and it's not easy or fast, but your business will grow because of it. I mean, it's what I do worldwide now. I didn't realize that you can take it from Silicon Valley to all over the world, and that's what I've been doing.
Incredible. And you've been traveling, you've been to 29 countries.
32, yeah.
Yes, and now you're in one of the best part of the world. Talk to us about where you are now.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so I landed in paradise. I always had a dream to live in Hawaii, and I was in Thailand. I never thought I would come back to the US because I was traveling for, 8 years worldwide, doing humanitarian projects, teaching retreats, teaching photography, yoga, writing books, and really having a blast. I mean, I could just relax in a way that I really couldn't when I was in Silicon Valley. I was too busy really working all the time and raising my family. So
Yes.
this place is
Describing my life
paradise.
at some point.
Yeah. There's not much time to take a breath.
Constantly on the go, trying to make things work.
Yes, constantly.
That's right. Okay, just to go back to your early days of running a business,
yeah.
other than referral, what other things did you do that you think sustained the business, especially in the early years?
Let's see. I feel, beside the relationships, well, I did really quality work.
Right.
I didn't realize, I mean, you have to be, okay, here's the tip. You have to strive to be better than anyone else. And because no one else was doing exactly what I was doing, I was offering something really different. So there was that. And then, but on top of that, you have to deliver excellent work. I mean, sometimes people just don't understand when I'm traveling worldwide. It's like, you don't get hired at Apple unless your work is in the top 1%. So
Right.
I'm just like stunned that people don't understand that sometimes and think that, oh, it's just a hobby for you. It's like, no, you have to be super good at what you do. Now, this could be anything, but you have to be so at the top of your game. I mean, this is something that, that really doesn't get talked about. I think people going into business have the idea that it's going to be easier than it is, and it's really not. You have to work hard to stay at the top.
Absolutely, absolutely. And, having the opportunity I have to communicate with so many entrepreneurs,
Mm-hmm.
you are just like everyone else that I get to talk to, that when you come into business, throw away the misconception that it's going to be a walk in the park. You have to be prepared to really dig in and,
Yep.
work hard more than any one of them. Of course, work smart as long as you stay on the top of your game.
Yes.
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 I am interested, Mary, to talk about you as an individual. Would you
Okay.
consider yourself to have been so privileged to have been born with entrepreneurial thing in you, or you had to learn that?
Oh, okay. That's a good question. You know what it was? I've had a lot of different jobs working for different people before I started my own business. And I found that I just really didn't like taking direction and being bossed around. I really didn't like it. And,
Right.
it's funny because no one in my family likes that. So we're all kind of hard-headed that way. And just, but that's actually a good thing. That's an advantage because when you have, like when I started the wedding business, this is something I didn't really think about for many years, the photography business.
Right.
I didn't ever consider that I would fail.
Right.
I could have failed, but I
Yes.
just never really thought about it. I never entertained it. I just thought, well, let's see what this, will do. And I never really envisioned any kind of failure. And then it took off. And I think, you can learn how to do it. But the thing underneath learning is that you want to have it really badly. I get people writing me that are saying easy and fast way to make a lot of money. It's like, no, it doesn't really work that way. You know?
No, no, it's one of those gimmick things.
Yes.
So you had,
Yeah.
so you had it in you to go out and work for yourself, but did you have to do extra things? Did you have to learn additional skills, or it was all natural to you? Describe yourself to our audience for a moment during those early days.
Okay, let's see. Was it natural? I think it was pretty natural, but it's changed so much now that there's a lot of technical things that you have to know about, and I'm challenged by those things. I mean, that's I don't think that's really my gift, is the
Right.
technical aspect of it.
Right.
I can figure it out, but it might take me a long time. So, um, I've recently learned you have to delegate, and I wish I'd learned that sooner. Because
Yes.
I would, right? I mean, it's just, I'd be more productive. So those are the things, like, you have to ask yourself, what is it that you really want to learn? And then
Right.
what is it that you can pay someone to do that you don't want to do?
Absolutely. 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 Let's talk for a moment, Mary, about the importance of mentors. I would like to assume
Mm.
that at some point in your 29 years of running a business, you had some interaction with mentors.
Hmm.
What's your position with the whole concept of mentoring?
Well, that one took me a long time to figure out because I just really am kind of just thinking I can do everything. And, and I hate, and you know what, I really, for a long time, I didn't really want to ask people for favors. I didn't understand I didn't understand that whole concept that you actually give them something too. But I didn't really understand mentorship until recently. So I could have started sooner, and maybe that would have helped even more. But yeah, I did. I have had interactions. when I was writing screenplays for a while my books were coming out, and that's when I met an angel investor that I learned some things from him. We're still in contact. I still he's bought when I've had exhibitions, he's bought photographs. He's been a good supporter. But I think mentorship it's kind of like a marriage. So my view on it is that it has to work for both sides,
Right.
and that's a gift. I mean, you have to be willing to learn and find the right person to do it. I mean, you can't just have somebody walk up to you and say, "Will you be my mentor?"
No.
that you don't know. People do think that though. So,
Yes.
but mentorship is wonderful.
Yes. How did you meet this angel investor, for the sake of our audience?
Oh, okay. So he was, so one of my wedding clients
Right.
recommended me to do his portrait.
Okay.
So that's how I met him. And she said, well, and you might pitch him for your screenplay idea too, because he's an angel investor. I'm like, bingo. Okay, great. So slam dunk. So I went over and we really had a nice connection.
Right.
And then we just started. I told him I wanted to pitch him on the screenplay idea. He's like, go ahead. And he was really, he taught me about the whole angel investing thing, in that he had a great style. He'd go for a walk with you and you'd talk about the project. You didn't always go to lunch. He didn't, he turned down the project because it was too much money for him to devote, and he wasn't sure and he made the right decision. I don't think he would have made any money on that deal. um, so, but it taught me a lot about film production and, trying to get financing and that sort of thing. So it was a good education for me.
Incredible. I know you've written 4 books.
Yes.
Before we jump on to the other, 2 mistakes that you often see business owners make in their early years, let's
Yes.
talk about your books for a moment. Which ones have you written? What are their titles, and how can people find those books?
Oh, they're all on Amazon. It starts with Everyday Naked, Sacred and Profane Morsels of Truth, which I've heard is funny.
It is funny.
And then,
Brilliant. Say those words again slowly, so that for those who are taking notes, they'll be able to capture it again.
oh, Everyday Naked. And if you put my name, you could put Everyday Naked in and it'll come up. That's my first book. It's nonfiction. It
Yes.
was traditionally published. And you just have to put that into Amazon. Or you can put my name, Mary Bartnikowski, and my books will come up.
Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, let's jump on to these mistakes, and I know our audience is keen to learn these mistakes. Other than the one you shared earlier on, what other mistakes do you often see business owners make? During the startup phase.
Well, let's see. I really recommend that you don't always think of it from a technical perspective.
Right.
Um, and I do see people, like I was in Thailand in this marketing community sort of hub in Chiang Mai. I lived there for a while. And I have to say that, I could see that people were spending so much time online that they weren't going out and developing relationships. So
Right.
that's a big problem. And then the other one is overspending on things that you don't need yet.
Right. Let's before we jump on to the
Yeah.
other overspending on what you need, let's talk about this one. Spending
Okay.
time online and not
Okay.
going out. Can you clarify that and expand a bit more?
I will. Okay. So, like, recently I've been getting so many people writing me saying, hi, you don't know me, but would you like to work with me? And it's like, no. Who are you? I don't know what you do. I haven't been recommended. And, it's basically just a pitch for me to come and spend money with them. They haven't proved anything of value. They don't really know what I need. And so, for me, I would have to be on the phone with them at least to determine whether I even wanted to work with them. But even that, I don't even have time for phone calls a lot. So,
Right.
I understand people are reaching out on the internet because, people are busy and everything, but you have to develop a more personal way that you can help people rather than, like, you can tell it's just a form letter. That's a big mistake right there.
Incredible. And what do you think is the consequence, that business people face when they do that and don't give priority to actually going to meet people the old-fashioned way, so to speak?
Yeah, the old-fashioned way. It's so funny. The old-fashioned way still works. And I hear people, like somebody was actually telling me, oh, word of mouth is best. It's like, yeah, I know. I'm trying to tell you. They're just saying, like, I know nothing about it. It's like my whole business was built on word of mouth. I think people are quick to, what's going to happen is if you don't find out, like I'm completely turned off if someone hasn't done any kind of research on me to know how to approach me. So,
Right.
now that I'm getting those kind of offers, which don't have value for me, I'm looking at it from a different perspective
Right. Right. Right.
than when I used to try and pitch people. But I didn't pitch them that way. I always came from a place of I'd like to have a relationship. Now, the part that I didn't learn was that you really have to offer value to those people because it's like a friendship.
Absolutely.
It's got to be
Absolutely.
valuable on both sides.
Yeah, before you withdraw, you need to deposit some money, don't you?
Exactly. Yeah, that's perfect.
Okay, let's jump on to the next one. Problem,
Okay.
overspending, like you mentioned.
Yes. Okay. So what I see, and it's just so easy to do. When
Right.
you don't have working capital, it's better not to go into credit if you can possibly help it. I didn't have investors for my business, so I never had the leisure almost of having that kind of capital. But I have spent at least $500,000 on my photography business with equipment and printing and the cost of running it and all of that. So, I have spent quite a bit of money on
Right.
making it be successful. But I would say that, some of the things I probably could have waited on spending for. So you have to be careful not to get into a position where your cash flow is just, I mean, I don't even understand how companies keep going that have no cash flow. I mean, I guess it's because they've got influxes of money from investors, but you owe it to those investors to
It will
make a
eventually come down
return.
on you. Yeah.
Exactly. You got it. Like, I'm just like, I remember once walking into an office in downtown Palo Alto because I was going to my accountant's office and I walked into this office that was a travel startup thing. And I'm like, who are you guys? And they're like, oh, we just started and we're not making any money yet. But I'm like, how could you
What are
possibly
you doing?
be? Yeah. I mean, I was just like, really? Who is giving you money? I was like, well, I'm glad you guys are having fun, but I gotta go make money now. So
That's beautiful. Okay, if we're to start all over again, Mary,
yeah.
you're running a business. What would you identify as the key area you know, to spend money on? And what are the other areas that you wouldn't spend money on?
Oh, okay. That's a good question. I would, well, if there was anything that would have changed, I would have changed starting to nurture relationships even sooner than I did. And then
Right.
in terms of money, I was pretty careful about the money thing. It's only been since this whole technical revolution has happened that you start getting into more higher priced equipment and wanting to hire people. And I think hiring people is great. You can hire the wrong people, and then that can be a detriment. But um, I can advise that if you are going to hire people, which as soon as you start making some money, it's great to be able to hand over a lot of jobs that you don't want to do and you're not good at.
That's right. That's
to
right.
someone else. So, I would say I wish I had done that. It took me too long to do that. So I wish I had done that sooner. But
Let me press you on that for a moment,
okay.
Mary. What actually
Okay.
stopped you from hiring individual, right?
Oh, you know what? It's just because I wanted to keep all the money for myself. Because listen, I didn't say this before, but at the peak of my earning in Palo Alto, I was turning down business right and left. Like, I don't know any other photographer that can say that, really.
Right,
I mean,
right.
I turned down so much business. Well, the reason being, I used to work with a partner and we would do every job together. Well, one day I was sick of turning down business and I said, I'm going to do this one myself. And then our income doubled.
Wow.
So that was a good decision. And I didn't realize, see, once you get really good at photography, you don't need to have another person there. You just don't. And so I realized that I had been cutting myself off from this whole income stream that I didn't realize until I said, I'm taking this one instead of turning it down because it was crazy. There were so many calls and we couldn't do them all.
Right, right.
Yeah.
With that, let's just go deeper in that. When
Okay.
you decided to take the calls, what changed in your mindset? Was there any major changes that happened at that time?
Well, it was a feeling of, wait, I'm sending this person away and they want to give me a lot of money to do what I do well.
Right.
And it was just like hurting me inside to turn that down. I mean, honestly, it's not cheap to live in Palo Alto. And I remember sitting at my desk and going, I'm going to do this one myself. And I thought, see, okay, here it is. It's a confidence thing.
Right.
If you don't have enough confidence to know that you can do something, okay, sure. I hadn't done a wedding by myself until I said yes to this particular job. And it was a smaller wedding and, it was actually easy. I mean, I didn't believe in myself enough to know that I could do that. And then right from that decision, it took off and I didn't have to turn people down anymore.
Incredible, incredible. What would you say to somebody in our audience who probably may be in a similar position you were
Mm.
back then? Something that could push them to go for more and be more and serve more people.
Yes. Okay. So here's the thing. Just if somebody asks you to do something, just say yes and figure out how to do it later. I really, really, I very rarely say no to things unless I really don't want to do them.
Right.
I'm not interested in doing them. They don't want to pay me. See, the thing is, here's this person on the phone. They're so disappointed that you can't even see them. They wanted to pay you. Like if there's this kind of dynamic going on, it's much harder to turn people down, And like I had been turning people down right and left. And just because of not doing the job with a partner and not having enough self-esteem and confidence to know that I could do it. Well, it turned out, even though I hadn't done it alone, I was fine and everything went great. And the clients were exceptionally happy and gave me good testimony. I mean, so the point is that you can go ahead and do something that maybe you're a little bit afraid to do. You haven't done it, but why not try it?
Incredible.
It might be a new source of income for you that you didn't even think of.
And you discover the strength that you probably are hidden to you at the time.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it makes it's great that we're talking about this because I think there is a place that you can get to where you get kind of comfortable with what you're doing. I mean, we were in our partnership, we were making really good money. Everything was working great. The jobs were coming in, but I was turning down all these people and I didn't want to hire people because personally, I feel like photography is a very personal business.
Right.
And it was suggested to me many times, oh, you should hire people. But, in wedding photography too is a very intimate thing and not everybody's suited for it.
Right.
So I didn't want to hire somebody and then have to deal with the emotional, psychological consequences of someone that didn't really fit. I didn't believe that it was the way to do it. So,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. While you're talking there, Mary, a thought just came on to me. It's a
Mm,
little bit out of what we're talking about.
okay.
When you went into a partnership with somebody during those years, what sort of things
Yeah.
do you look out for? Uh, and looking back, were those, if you were to go again into partnership, would you do the same or would you do it differently?
I think I would do it differently
Okay, let's talk
because
about what you would do.
okay,
Yes.
because I was actually in partnership with my husband
Right.
and I started the business and wanted to do it. And, what I would do differently now is I think I would be more careful about doing a husband and wife business,
Right.
because you don't really think in a business way. Like, I ended up doing more of the no fun stuff
Okay.
because it had to be done. So in addition to the shooting,
Yes.
here's what was great about doing it separately but still in partnership. So when I started accepting these other jobs and we doubled our income, we each had our own clients. So he had to
Right.
do the part that I didn't want to always do for all of our clients. He had to do it for his clients, and I did it for mine. So that was a more equitable way to do the business. Now, what I would do differently is have it a little bit more defined as to who was going to do what, because that can trip you up. And I think we both have the same kind of strengths. That's not such a good thing either. You should have a partner with different strengths from you.
Right. Right.
So that's what I would do differently.
Incredible, incredible. Going back to, thank you so much for that. Let's talk about, one final mistake which you see a lot of business owners commit or do right now. Yes, from your years of experience.
Well, I do see people that want free. Um, you have to be careful about how you approach people that you want to work with, business to business.
Right.
Um, you have to offer them something, and I see people approaching me, and from my own experience, that they're really just wanting business. They're not really thinking about a partnership kind of thing. And even somebody just called me the other day and they said they wanted me to do photography for free, for their modeling agency. I'm like, I don't do photography
Right.
for free. I don't work for promotion. I don't, and she understood it and everything, but I was like, if you had done any kind of research on me, you wouldn't even have asked.
Right.
But okay, fine. You asked. I'm saying no. I have no problem saying no. Um, so that's another thing, saying no. We didn't talk about this, but I do see, okay, this is a mistake.
Right.
People do work for free a
Right.
lot. And I would say exercise that with caution, because if you don't get paid for something, people are unlikely to all of a sudden want to pay you for it.
Right.
And you can't measure. Like, I still get this after 3 decades. I still get people going, oh, why don't you do this for free, and then you'll get a lot of work from it. It's like, that is not measurable. You get what you want, you get the free photography, and I don't get something that's measurable. So the mistake is that people rely on stuff like that and then they don't make any money. So I see people doing that.
So should you do, when you're getting started, because there is this general tendency among, startups, which I've seen a lot of time, that they say, I'm looking for clients. I will do half an hour consultation free.
Hmm. Hmm. Well,
Or
that's different. I think, if you,
how they do it.
how you have to really, okay, after all of the work I've done, I can say that if you want to do that, that's fine, but you have to limit it to, I mean, for me, I channel all of that into my humanitarian projects. There's no money involved. I'm doing free work, and that's great because they're not making money. Like, you
Right.
have to ask yourself, is this company going to make money off of what I'm doing? Well, then I need to get something in return for that.
Right.
So it's a case by case basis. It really is. I mean, if you see that this company is going to do something really valuable for you, well, then fine. Then do your half hour consultation. That's not too much to give, but I've had people wanting me to like commit a whole day of photography 6 weeks from now. It's like, are you kidding? Come on. I could be making money that day. What is in this for me? The maybe that I might get businessy, maybe I can't pay my bills with maybe.
That's right. That's right. Absolutely. Well, I'm very interested in, and I know our audience are very interested to know what is it that you are now doing, or the main service you're providing, especially in Hawaii where you're based. Can we talk
Hmm.
about that for a moment?
Yeah, I would love to. So what I do is these private luxury learn yoga and photography 3 and 5 day retreats. I just had a couple from Australia come and learn yoga and photography with me for 3 days. I
Beautiful.
provide the luxury accommodation right on the ocean. You can hear the ocean all night long. And then I'm a certified yoga teacher as well, yoga instructor. So I teach them yoga and meditation, and it's all their choice. If they didn't feel like they want to do yoga that morning, they can sleep in because people need to catch up on their sleep too.
Absolutely.
Um, and then we talk about what we could do that day. I offer options. We generally will go to the North Shore, and I will take them to the most beautiful places. Like, I just was working on the testimony, the woman that left. She's a financial real estate broker in Australia, and she gave me the most beautiful testimony. And she was saying how I can take you to the places where you don't have to bumble around looking for the shot. They both had their cameras. I know exactly where to take the picture, and it isn't just about the picture. It's
Right.
really about being in this power place because it's so gorgeous here that I know exactly where to bring a person to give them an experience. And I'm not defining it so much by, oh, you're going to take a gorgeous picture, but it's really about the experience of being in that spot and feeling the energy of that. And then, do you want to stay here a while or do you want to go to this other place? So it's very personal, one-on-one.
Incredible, incredible. And we were talking earlier on that your ideal clients or the people you normally serve are
Hmm.
entrepreneurs, the CEO, people that are as busy like myself.
Yes. Yeah.
That's-
And see, you're so busy that you don't have time to make any mistakes with the wrong restaurants, wasting time trying to find something. Like, I live here. I know how to give you an experience like a local, but with luxury and in a short amount of time so that each day that you have here is going to be solid gold.
Incredible. And you've got some amazing photos on your website that you've
Oh,
taken
thank you.
as well. And would you kindly share those, the website where people can find you if, they want to work with you or just connect with you?
Oh, yeah. If you want to connect, it's bartnikowski.com. And that's my main website. And then from there, you can go to my retreats. There's how you can work with me. Like, say, if you didn't want to do a retreat, but you wanted a personal session of photography or yoga, you can click that link, work with me. There's a gallery. That's my name, bartnikowski.smugmug.com. And I have pictures from all over the world, from 32 countries on my site, only the best. You can actually buy photographs from that site. You can get downloads of files for your own projects, and it's all through the site. But if you want a more personal connection with me, you can certainly write me or call me, Mary at bartnikowski.com. I have a YouTube channel as well with over 400 videos on it. You can connect with me that way. That's
Absolutely. I was checking
yeah.
you out. You have close to 800,000 views. And I thought,
It went over now. It's going up by about 1,000 views a day. Isn't that great?
that is incredible. That speaks volumes, to the quality of work that you're doing there. That, every time, people are, looking to see what you're doing.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I really like to interact with people, and that's a free way to do it. And it's fun for me. I love making the videos, and people do respond. I've been getting a lot of responses and comments and shares and likes. It's been great.
Beautiful, beautiful. I'm having such a great time communicating with you here, and I'm hoping our audience are also having fun, also taking a lot of notes, and going to implement some of the things that you're sharing. As we come toward the end of our time here,
Yeah.
is there anything that that I've not asked you, which you feel is very important for people who are starting their business to bear in mind?
Yes, there is one thing. It's about mindset.
Right. Let's talk about
It's
that for a moment.
so important. And it is, it's funny. When I was in Silicon Valley, people would say, aren't you afraid to be in business by yourself? Like, with photography, because, here I am, an artist surrounded by engineers. They
Right.
think differently. And so you have to come, well, I mean, that's a whole other topic, but you have to come with your business with a mindset of you're going to succeed, and courage takes practice. You're going to try every single day to keep going no matter what happens, even if something highly negative happens. I mean, I've had adversity that I didn't talk about today that really shook me to the core, but I kept on. And I that mindset that you have is the thing that will keep you going even when you think that things are really bad and everything's wrong. I mean, you just have to stay positive. And another thing, surround yourself with other positive people. I wish I had known that a little bit better looking back, because it's really hard to be around people that don't really look upwards, and they can drag you down easily. So best thing is to be very careful with your time, have a mindset of being positive, and whatever happens, you're going to succeed. That doesn't have to necessarily mean a dollar amount of money that you make. Your mindset will lead you into places that you might never have expected to go.
Incredible. Really appreciate that. You mentioned, Mary, about a situation that really shook you. I'd love to talk about that for a moment as the final part, especially how you managed to stay focused, building your business and dealt with this. Would you kindly share that with our audience?
Oh, okay. So I would say probably the most adversity was in the crash in 2008,
Right.
when no one had money in the Valley. So overnight, I lost all my clients. Nobody had money, because photography is a luxury. You don't have to have it. It's not like groceries.
That's right. And
so all of a sudden, but still my income, my expenses didn't go down. I'm raising a child. I had a lot of financial obligations at that time. Rent, over $2,000 a month to rent a house in downtown Palo Alto. And this was in 2008.
Right.
So what I did was started scrambling, and I didn't want to lower my prices for photography. I did do some deals, but I went out, met more people. I took on a couple more jobs. I actually, I started teaching yoga.
Right.
There's not much money in it, but it kept me, it kept me going. And I started teaching at like 3 or 4 studios. It was only about 6 months of really challenging times. I even delivered pizzas.
Right.
It got me gas and groceries for my family. That, and then, I was still getting photography jobs. I was teaching yoga, and I was still writing books. So I was doing all 4 at the same time. Then after about 6 months, my business was being built back up and everything was fine. But those 6 months were misery.
Incredible. So what mindset kept you going during this really difficult time?
Well, I kept believing that it was going to turn around. I didn't know when, but I just felt like if I had made some wrong decisions. I didn't have like a lot of money put aside. Like you really should have that. Now most people don't because you're out on a limb with your business, but it would have been okay if I'd had a cushion, and I highly recommend having that. So that was a mistake I made. And then, I really wanted to keep my child in Palo Alto High School, and I'm glad that I could. I wouldn't have changed that. That was
Oh,
that was instead of moving away, this is where my business was. So the mindset was, no, this is not going to make me fold in. I'm going to keep going. And, because of my relationships,
right.
I could even get those jobs. I mean, like I was recommended for all of those other jobs because of people that I knew that I was going through a hard time. Like I let people know I was going through a hard time and they helped me.
Right. Right.
So
Right.
the mindset is, even when you're feeling like it's just so difficult for you, if you have relationships already in place, those people are going to help you.
Absolutely.
But you can't ask when you need it. They have to already be in place. So that's the thing that I would leave people with.
Absolutely.
Again, making the relationships be about it's so important. That's how your business is going to survive and thrive.
Wow. Wow. Incredible. Really appreciate all this sound information. I've learned a great deal myself just listening to you.
Oh, thank you.
And not only that, you reinforce some of the beliefs that I already have, about, a business and keep going, even during the tough times.
Yes.
Let's have that website again, for people to go to connect with you.
Oh, yeah. And the one I didn't mention is
Yes.
my yoga retreat, yoga and photography retreat. That's my, if you put in secrets of Kauai, it should come up. But if you want to connect with me right away, right now, the easiest thing to do is bartnikowski.com.
Okay, and you spell that as BARTNIKOWSKI.com.
That's correct.
And,
yeah.
You will be connected with Mary over there. So with that,
that's right.
With that said, Mary, I really want to honor your time and thank you so much for taking your time out from a beautiful Hawaii to
thank you.
To add value to the business community here in the UK, Australia, Canada, and of course in the US. Really appreciate that.
Oh, I appreciated so much talking to you. It was really fun. Thank you.
Awesome. And for you listening today, thank you for joining us and taking time to implement all that you learned today, and believe that, as you continue learning these things, implementing them, you are certainly going to get to the top and you're going to change other people's lives, because you'll be adding value. And with that said, I look forward to seeing you or just speaking with you in another episode of Enlightened Entrepreneurs. And with that, thanks, Mary, for being here with us.
Oh, thank you so much. I really enjoyed it.
Awesome. And have a great day, everyone.